Well, if there's a storm rolling up on you in the background, maybe we should bring in our next guest. We're going to bring him in 5 minutes early, but of course, Mick Strawn and Nick Benson.
The storm just hit you and you don't even know it.
Yeah, I can't seem to get John back in. So, all right, David, I think what we're going to do here, I want to check and see where we're at fundraising wise for these families. But since you got a storm rolling in, we're going to go ahead and start your panel early. I'm not sure where the others are, but I'll try to track them down as well. But yeah, here at the top of the hour, our goal for today is $10,000. We are 4 hours into the stream, and we are currently at $5,770. So we are a little more than halfway there.
People, you're showing up. Keep doing it. Keep sending your pennies because, God damn it, we have 3 women out there who need our support.
That's right.
Next time with enthusiasm.
Hey, you can ask
not use other pants.
Yeah. You know what? When I'm not wearing pants, I'm amazing.
So you're telling us that you're not wearing pants right now?
You can't prove that.
No comment.
I'm wearing pants. It just happened to be virtual.
Now, Mick, I do have an off-topic subject question. I saw you singing Dawkins' Dream Warriors in front of a chicken coop. Okay, first of all, big question. Is that your chicken coop? Are those your chickens? And why? There's so many questions.
Yes, it is. I have a new one in Tennessee, and I even have more chickens. And I caress them with my crooning voice whenever I can.
Well, that tracks. Okay, good.
Have you seen my battle
base with you?
Now I get along with chickens, but I'm telling you something. You can't trust a goose. You can't trust those Washington geese.
No, geese are nasty. I used to actually have chickens and ducks, and I had a duck that would escape out of the little pool. We ended up calling him Cool Hand Luke because he just couldn't put him there, and then he'd be out wandering in the backyard.
There's a film out there when I was working first AD on Vengeance, and there was a goose that I kind of had to take care of, and unfortunately, they caught it on film.
Well, the things you learn.
I'm just saying, you know what? Some of the things that I'm on are good. And there's the rest of them.
Oh well, that's just the way it goes. But don't worry about it. I'm actually, like you said, I am the least qualified person to be on this call at this point in time.
Well, you know what? Me and Nick are qualified enough to cover for you.
Okay, good. Thank you for making me look good. All right, so actually, I'm going to jump to Nick for a second. I have been fascinated with the cockroach death scene forever. What was your favorite effect when you were doing the special effects for Nightmare on Elm Street for Dream Master?
Honestly, it's hard to pick a favorite because they both presented different challenges. But Mick and I definitely connect quite well on the cockroach sequence. We have some stories with that slime.
We have overlapping stories on this.
Oh yeah,
the floor is yours.
Hey, so, Nick, you started out.
I'll start it up, and I'm going to hand it off to you because you tell it way better than I do. So as you all know, we had quite a bit of slime in there for poor Brooke to slide around on. There was two different sets we had to utilize, but the slime was the cockroach motel, and we had to mix a variant of slimes, but one of them is like a pie filling kind of thickener, and that's mixed with something called ultra slime. Well, ultra slime can be very dangerous. and also quite comical.
Turns out.
Yeah, turns out this stuff is very weird because when you take it out of the canister or whatever the hell it is that it's in, you have to cut it with scissors. That's how gooey and thick this stuff is.
Literally on the label, when you use Ultra Slime, on the label, it says you must have scissors. And I'm not kidding. It says you must have scissors.
No joke.
Before you open this bottle. And then
No joke.
all you have to do is open it once without them to go, oh, I get that. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So we have to tint this stuff so that it looks like Roach Motel glue, right? Hi, Mark.
Hey,
Hey
Mark.
guys, how are you? Who's here? Let me look one time before I take my glasses off. Hey, David.
Hey, how you doing?
Mark, that's me. Hey, Nick, how are you? Nice to see you.
Yeah, you have to put up with the glare on mine. I'm not that cool. I can't do this without
Oh, see,
keep my
I
nose
said
on my
well,
side.
and then I take my glasses off.
So, Nick, back to you.
So we have to tint this stuff and mix it up in very large quantities because there was a lot of it. So
I'll take it from here.
I'm gonna let Nick take it from here.
So we actually got 50 gallons of it, and we got it in a 50-gallon tank, right? 50-gallon drum. And it literally came in the night before. And you're talking about something that in the 80s cost $30 a quart, right? So we had 50 gallons of it. So it gives you an idea of the investment in just this 50-gallon thing. And
Expensive.
we have our scissors standing by because we're not dumb. But we get it open, and it's 3:00 in the morning before we get to it. We're going to be filming in the morning. We're going to be filming, when the crew gets in there. And by the way, as far as working back in those times, 3:00 in the morning is just another hour, right?
Yeah.
It's just another time, right? And so we've got about 5 hours, and the product is clear, and we have to make it look like that orange that we got it tinted to, right? Now everybody remembers her, in the slime, and so we start. I have an office that's empty about 2 doors down from my office, and we either roll the barrel in there, and I have one of those huge drills, that construction manly men use all the time. And I wasn't one time a manly man, and occasionally I come back to being a manly man, but with a big drywall mud mixer, right? And so you take the mixer and I have a guy that's a PA in the art department, and I say, okay, here's what your job is. I'm going to put this food coloring in here, and then you're going to use the drill and put the paddle in there, and you're going to mix it up. And I turned and I walked out the door.
Do not try this at home.
Do not try this. So now the funny thing is I was only 3 doors down, and it was only like 3 minutes later that I hear screaming coming from the room. Let me tell you a little something that I didn't know at the time. But if you apply kinetic energy to something that doesn't have it's a surfactant, and it doesn't have a surface tension, right? And so what it does is it just transfers that energy up on top of itself. And so I come back, and all I can hear is this screaming, gurgling sound. I go back down the hall. I slam the door open, and here's this blob. Literally a blob going, like this, because I can just barely. What has happened is the drill beans as it goes around, and it has the paddles are bent in a certain way, just sent all that with no surface tension right back up over the drill and over my assistant. So all 50 gallons were just clinging to him, like all around him like this, and he's screaming and trying to keep his mouth clear so that he can live through this, to laugh about it another day, which I have done many.
And Nick, you worked on the Blob, so you probably had some ideas.
Exactly. And that's how the trailer to the Blob was made.
We almost made another Blob.
So literally, so we had to get those scrape, and he's so pissed, and so and here's this incredibly expensive stuff, and I had to do my best to scrape it down off of him. Using, I had somebody go out and give me a bunch of those little blades that you use for working on a car on a car, Bondo blades. And we're just all these blades, and we're trying to scrape it off so that we can mix it up a little bit and get it immediately onto the stage.
I've been there with blood, but my budget was smaller.
Yeah. Only we had enough trouble. We had enough money to get us in trouble. Yeah.
Hey, Mark, how you doing? And dangerous, kitties.
And dangerous.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Are we on? Are we in the?
Yeah, we're absolutely running. That's good. We lost connections with other people, so we started a little early. So you weren't late. We were early.
Oh, well, that's nice. It's nice to know.
Oh, I'm glad you feel that way.
I thought we were in the waiting room.
We were talking about some special effects and things that have gone well and things that have gone awry.
Okay.
One of the effects that I actually saw with Freddie coming straight out of your chest there, how long did that actually take to get done?
Oh, you mean, well, the filming took 3 days, but I think Mark Shostrom built that, and Kevin Yeager was doing Robert Englund stuff. And I think it took like 6 weeks to build it. They did a full body cast, a full immersion of my body. And then there were about 6 or 7 puppets, and they were all really incredibly lifelike. I mean, the hairs were put in by hand, each individual hair. It was beautiful. But then the actual filming of it took 3 days. Yeah.
Was that the most work that you ever had for any of the things that happened to you, or was
the special effects, you mean?
Yeah, that's
special. That's probably the biggest one for me. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the most uncomfortable. The tongue thing was the most uncomfortable one for me, because that had had a dental opening, and it was in my mouth for 10 hours. So I was like not in a good mood. Jack always tells stories about I wrote him nasty letters, but I mean literally it was bonded in that tongue was bonded in my mouth for 10 hours.
Yeah, no,
and I smoked at the time, so I wasn't a happy boy at that time. So, but those are those kind of stunts. I've done some others. I mean, my hands have been cut off in Family Ties, and just whatever the regular bloody kind of things where they. I killed a couple of people in my last movie, and it's called One Dead Dog, which is just coming out. And so I actually get to do some killing, which is good.
Nice. So have you ever, and this is all of you, have you ever read something on the sides and it's an effect or something, and you're like, how in the world am I going to get this done? And each from your own perspective. I mean, I spend most of my time trying to make it up as I go along at this point and try to make it look
Every
good.
day.
But I mean, well,
Every day.
Jesus, I still do that even when I'm not working.
Yeah. So I said every day.
That's right, exactly, every day.
but in the Friday the 13th, the Friday the 13th, my brain is just, see, that's what I mean. The Nightmare on Elm Street series. What was something that you saw that, like, how could I make this work? I mean, other than the 50-gallon drum of blob.
Well, Nick is. I know Nick has had his opportunities to torture Robert, and certainly I've tortured Robert anyways. But I would say that one of the most interesting ways of looking at a situation would have been the fall of Lisa Wilcox into the screen. Because that was, I've actually had people call me up that were effects people that call me up to this day to go, okay, how the hell did you do that? and I go, well, what you have to realize is when she's getting sucked into the screen, it's a fall. It's not what you think it is. And everybody goes, Oh, no cables, no wire. No cables and no wires. We when the first part of that sequence is we get the entire balcony isolated, and once she gets up onto the balcony, then we have taken the balcony is ours, and so we've laid it all out with two enormous. You see them loading. They're called material loaders, which is an enormous tractor that has a boom that lifts up. And what we did is we took two of them and we wired their hydraulic systems so that they were all one. And then we built the balcony on those two so that we could tilt the balcony up. And we had all the people that are sitting there are in seatbelts, except for Lisa and her stunt person a little bit later on. And we lifted it in the camera and lights and the chairs and the whole bit. We just lift it up like this. And the cameras are riding on it so that they don't know that like the popcorn is literally just falling and the Coke is just falling. And then we take, as she gets down, she gets to that edge of the balcony, right? And then we took the edge of that balcony and we took it down to Highland Boulevard, where there was a building that was called I can't think of the name of the company, but it was an enormous fur storage building that was 8 stories high. And we put the beams from the theater that you see in the theater in there. We created those, painted them the same way, and hung them on the side of that building 8 stories down. And then we lifted the edge of the balcony up and had a stunt girl fall off of that into an enormous paper blue screen. And that was when she goes up over your head like this, she's not hanging, she's actually falling that way.
Cool.
Wow.
Which is a hell of a lot of work.
Sounds more dangerous than
it was incredibly dangerous.
like Amanda.
If there's not money and danger involved, Mick doesn't do it.
It's just
All right.
No,
That makes sense. All right, it's good.
I kind of have a reputation for that. Yeah, it was dangerous, and everything that we did kind of on Nightmare on Elm Street 4 was incredibly dangerous.
Nobody was like standing around like, you guys are safe, or were you like trying to get her around the corner?
Well, you know, one of my mottos is safety third.
I didn't hear him.
Not
Sorry.
to work with you.
Safety third.
Oh, safety third. Okay.
Yeah, safety third. I mean, you know.
I would get the shot.
Yeah, that's right. Get the shot.
And if it's really dangerous, make sure that's the last scene they need to do.
Yes, turn around and make sure the camera's still in good shape.
Now, Mark, did you feel safe in all the shots that you were doing? Like,
yeah, I mean, I did. The bus was a little rocky. I'm not going to work with these guys. I mean, Bob Shays, lucky he ended up with New Line Cinema, and Amanda Wiss and Lisa Wilcox don't own it, you know, because there were a lot of dangerous stuff. No, I actually on our set we had what you guys know, the older man who was his last job. He did The Bird on ours. He was really, you know,
Pat Patterson.
You know,
Pat Patterson.
Yeah. He just did things with invisible string or invisible twine or whatever. We didn't have that. We didn't have those kind of stunts. And I actually think Robert Russler's stunt was pretty big, but it didn't get completed in time. So they just knifed him, which I think is great. I mean, I like the kill scene in Elm Street too, because Nightmare on Elm Street's fantastical. The other ones, the 1, 3, and 5, ours is a little more realistic on a certain level. And actually, when Robert Rustler gets killed in the bedroom in the transformation scene, it's my favorite kill in all of the Nightmare on Elm Streets, and it's the most simple one, you know. so I think we avoided some disaster because these guys were on 1 and 3 and 4. We all lived to tell the story. Our bus was a little dangerous, actually.
Okay. Someone just asked a question. I figured we came up quick. Is like, what is your favorite kill on any of the Nightmare series?
Me?
I just heard mine.
Oh, you said yours. Go, Nick.
Yeah.
Come on, Nick.
Nightmare. I actually really enjoyed the waterbed kill in 4, but there's a whole bunch of story to that too. I happened to be standing right there when all of that was shot. And it was really a long process to get that done.
Yeah, that was pretty close to being exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Exactly what it looked like.
Yeah.
That was a rotating room, right?
Which one?
Yeah, that wasn't rotating.
Yeah, no. I'm going through all this at this point.
That's number 1.
Yeah, that's 1.
Right.
That's 1.
There's the waterbed kill in 4, where the Playboy model shows up in the bed, inside the bed mattress.
Mm-hmm. Just like I've always wanted. So,
I personally really liked the wrist.
Oh, the veins, right?
Yeah, because
that was great.
Now I got to see. I went down with Rachel and we looked at the original cut of that, which was just the slop together cut. Right just after we got the elements done, and they did the full in the first cut. It was the full veins coming out and veins on the legs, and oh my God, I gotta tell you something. You just we walked out of the screen room kind of going it was horrendous. I mean, it was really it was for me as a horror filmmaker, as what, that's a little too much.
Brutal.
But that was my favorite kill. It really was.
Yeah, I was going to say the cockroach is mine, but my favorite moment, actually, I was a fan of the Nightmare series before I was allowed to watch it. My sister was 4 years older than I was, and she'd gone out with a boyfriend to go see this movie, and apparently it really bothered. Now, me being 4 years younger than her, I did not have the upper hand in anything, but both of us had teen phones. Remember teen phones at the time?
Sure.
So she was scared. She was scared about that, and I knew one scene that really bothered her. It was the phone scene. So I called her up on her phone. You didn't have any caller ID or anything like that. She answered the phone and went, "I'm your new boyfriend now." Blah, blah, blah. I thought that she was going to kill me. The window, screamed shut and banging on my doors, and it's been a favorite of mine ever since.
Well, that isn't nice.
Who doesn't torture their younger sisters?
Exactly.
Oh, no, she's my older sister. She
was older, yeah.
She was my older sister. That's where it counts.
That's even better.
That's some skills.
Now, Mark, you have a tattoo of every character you played on your body?
Yeah, I do. Actually, they're all over the place.
And when did you start doing that? I mean, was it as far back as when you were on Broadway?
No, God. When I was on Broadway, nobody got tattoos. I mean, they were, like bikers got them.
That's
no,
right.
I actually got, yes.
Sailors and bikers.
Exactly. And my uncles had tattoos, and I remember thinking he had like a naked girl in a martini glass on his arm. And they were all soldiers. My uncles were all soldiers, Marines. And I always thought, God, that's gross. I would never do that. Now, I'm completely covered in them. So, yeah, no, I started when I was 40, actually. I got my first tattoo when I was 40. And now I have 32, I think. 32 names. Yeah, all names. Yeah. And they're all the characters that I played. So every time I play a new character, I just put a new one on. And I got a crown for Scream Queen, too. So
that's great. I love that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you guys have any tattoos?
I can't think of anything that I've ever said in my life that was actually true enough to make a tattoo. So
I have people ask me all the time how many I have. I just tell them one big one because I lost count a long time ago.
All right, so I got 5 minutes left. I'm getting a 5-minute warning on this. So what are your upcoming projects that you guys are working on? Is there anything we can actually push for you guys? Anything that you want to let the world know that you guys are venturing out? Because I'm going to stalk you all, like, so it's good.
Mark, you want to go first?
Sure. Well, I have a new movie coming out called One Dead Dog. It's a serial killer movie, and looking forward to that. That's on the festival circuit starting, I guess, next month, and that's shot out of Portland, which I really love. And we're doing a series of screening parties, which are really fun. So if you come over and visit us, I'm actually doing Come Back to the Five and Done, Jimmy Dean, with a commentary with it. And the Scream Queen tour, the second half, the European and the Japanese part of the tour, got canceled because of COVID. So we're basically doing that this way through social media. And then we go back and honor those commitments later. But Scream Queen is on Shudder now and Amazon and HBO and all those kind of stuff. So please check that out. And that's it. Come over and see me at Instagram or Facebook or whatever. I'm very approachable. So come and see us. That's it.
Nick or Mick?
Let's see.
Mick and Flick. Jefferson Starship.
You know what? I've always got something. I've got several scripts that I'm shopping around. I have 2 podcasts, Rabbit Hole and Dream Warrior Review, that kind of get to suck up some of my time. You can come over and help with my room edition whenever you want. Always need somebody on the other side of that beam. I am 63. Other than that, I wrote a book called
Behind the Screens, man.
Behind the Screens.
Yeah, behind the screens. I'm going through my notes as fast as my dyslexic can't read it all.
Yeah, I wrote a book called Behind the Screens, which is all about Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and all the background stuff, and it's gotten, rave reviews, and if you get
all of our crazy stories in it.
Yeah, all of our crazy stories are in it, and if you want to get a hold of me, I can get you a book. I have an animation project that's slowly cranking along, where we're taking a bunch of the stories that I've been telling for years, and friends of mine have been telling for years, and we're animating them for either posterity or shits and giggles. I can't tell. So my time here is done. You can always get a hold of me. I like what Mark said. I'm very approachable.
Well, we will. I'm going to send you my out of work PA son. So.
Mick Strawn, you can find me all over the place. It's Nick's turn.
Okay. Now, Nick, you also have a book, right? ZBrush Creature Design, right?
No, that's not my book. I'm just in that book.
You're just in that book. I wasn't sure.
I'm also in Mick's book. I'm also in the Complete History of the Howling. Currently, I try to help out as much as I can with a group called Morbidly Beautiful. I do some PR stuff for them. I just recently finished a music video for Slipknot with effects wizard Steve Johnson, who I started working for 35 years ago, and we reconvened and did that 30 years later. It was very surreal. Other than that, I've got some projects in the works. I can't really talk about too much about them, but if you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, as I update stuff, it'll be there.
Cool. There's Brian.
All right, Mick Strawn, Nick Benson, and Mark Patton, everybody. We really, really appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for having us. We really appreciate it.